All right, we are live on Facebook, and I've got to apologize to you guys. I sent out an email today with the wrong time. I'm so sorry about that, but I didn't want to give everybody another email because our email inboxes are already full enough. So I didn't want to send more emails. So just for the record, if you're joining me live on Zoom, you don't have to leave your camera on. We'll have time at the end for questions. And this is being recorded and live streamed on Facebook. So I will keep an eye out over here and see if anybody's going to type in questions. And then if you are listening to me because you're amazing and you're listening to the podcast or you're watching the recording, bless you because you're taking time out of your day to learn something new. And you know what? Pat yourself on the back for that. And know if I do anything like a screen share, or I happen to pick up my camera like I might do today because I want to show you some things that I actually have in my office, I will be describing those things to you in detail because today is all about scary marketing stories. All right, because it's October and October is scary and spooky. So, and I have a big giant 15-foot skeleton in my front yard. I'm so happy about that. But scary marketing stories. But you know me, I'm always going to give you a solution. So I'm going to lead with the scary story. And spoiler alert, it's about me. And that's where a lot of this comes from because I coach a lot of new practice owners who struggle with networking, marketing, advertising, all of the things we must do to make sure that our community can find us, because that's the service we're offering. We're offering this amazing, wonderful service, but we have to be a bright, shiny object to capture the attention of people who need our services. So yeah, there are some scary stories, and I will leave you, because I love the number 3, I will leave you with at least 3 solutions that you can do today. I will keep an eye on the chat over here, just making sure that I'm answering questions there. And of course, at the end, I'll leave the last 5 minutes for questions. So let's dive in. Marketing scary stories. I'm going to just start with the obvious, and that is the big networking group. So I started my practice Achieve Balance in the Woodlands, Texas. Oh my gosh, a long, long, long time ago. And so when I started marketing, I went to the Chamber of Commerce because that's what somebody told me to do, go to the Chamber of Commerce. Well, I walk in to their weekly meeting and there are over 100 people in there. And then they say, okay, you're going to have to stand up and talk for 1 minute about your business. Now, yes, I am a former music major, right? I was supposed to be used to all the auditions and the juries and getting up there and doing the performing. And you know what, y'all, back then, no, that was not my happy place. So I can remember feeling that feeling in your stomach, like you don't know which end it's going to come out. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I'm going to lose it. Well, that was just murderous. It was so terrifying. And I did it though. I mean, I did it. I stood up, I gave my 1 minute commercial, but that's not the end of the scary story. So what I would observe, because that's what I do, right? I'm a counselor. So I'm observing people giving their talks and their speeches, and I'm seeing people sweat. I'm seeing people shake. I saw one person have a panic attack and have to stop and sit down and be helped kind of off to the side. I saw, and of course, I would see therapists because in my community, we had several therapists. And, you know, I would see people kind of overshare. So they would stand up to give their 1 minute commercial to this room full of people, and they would tell too much. It was too personal of a story. And you could see when they were finished that they weren't really happy with what they talked about. And so when it comes to that space, because there's so much coming at you about what to share. So I'll own this because I feel like I'm seeing things like you need to be more vulnerable. You need to share more about your struggles and what you're going through. And yes, that's all well and good. It really, really is. And I'm a huge fan of sharing mistakes because I think people can learn so much from mistakes and how you recovered. And it's wonderful. It's how I've built my business. But when you're just learning the ropes and you're getting out there and you're networking and you're talking to groups and you're standing up, that's probably not the place you want to share your most personal story. And for most of us in counseling, it might be the story that got us into the business. And so that's part of what I'm going to talk to you about because, yeah, there's a solution. So when I talk about marketing to big groups, getting too personal, having a panic attack, the solution is, you're going to love this, nobody's listening to you. All right. Here's how I know this. Because I'm a counselor, what I know is that when anxiety goes up, cognition goes down, otherwise known as fight or flight. So when you're in a room with 100 other people and they are all waiting their turn to speak, and you look around and it's every profession in your community, from mechanics to realtors to Arbonne ladies to you name it, none of them are professional public speakers. So they are all sitting there thinking about what they are going to say, losing their own, having their own panic attack. That anxiety level in these folks is so incredibly high, they're not listening to you, all right? Or if they're listening to you, they're not going to remember if you overshared. They're not going to remember if you forgot your speech. They're not going to remember if you said the same thing 3 times and got the hiccups in the middle. Well, they might remember that. But you have to know, as a mental health professional, anxiety goes up, cognition goes down. That's the ability to take in information and download it into that mid to long-term memory. So that's number 1. Number 2, memorize. So to do this, and I talked about this a long time ago. In fact, I think you can probably find the video on YouTube somewhere, and it may even be in our Step It Up membership, the 30-second elevator speech or the 1-minute elevator speech. Memorize, over memorize, and then practice, over practice. I mean, I still remember mine, I think. Let me think. So, hi, my name is Dr. Kate Walker. I'm a therapist in the Woodlands, Texas. My marriage and family therapy practice, achievebalance.org, is located just around the corner in Market Street. Do you know someone who is suffering because they know a family member who's going through depression or addiction? We can answer your phone call today. Again, my name is Dr. Kate Walker. My marriage and family therapy practice is Achieve Balance, and it's located just around the corner in the Woodlands, Texas. Kate Walker, give me a call today. Oh, I can't believe I remembered it. So that was, I didn't time it, but I'm pretty sure that was around 30 seconds. And then I could draw it out if I needed to, but I wrote it down. I said it out loud. I think this was before everybody had a camera on their phone, so I don't think I videoed myself, but you may know of, there's an organization called Toastmasters. You can go to Toastmasters, and I never went, but I understand they're a very, very kind organization. They can help you nurture this ability to stand up and speak. Now, in addition to the solution, I'm going to give you the why. Here's why you must master this very, very scary skill, right? Because speaking gigs, not for money necessarily, but for you to get out into the community and talk to a PTO or chaplains that work with first responders, or you talk to a group in a hospital that trains chaplains. You're going to talk to people, and they want to get to know you. They want to hear how you speak. They want to hear how you address issues. And that is, I can't tell you, and those of you who are listening to me right now and you have talked to people for free, You know what I'm about to say. Every time I stand up to give a talk at the end, I've got people pulling me aside saying, hey, how do we contact you again? Hey, my kiddo is, my neighbor is, my daughter-in-law is. You're going to have people who, what we call that connection, right? You're building connection. So although you may have some folks say, well, only market in the way that makes you feel comfortable. Hooey to that. When you're able to stand up and give a talk, show eye contact, help people really understand, because this is how we do our job, folks, right? We talk, and they start to hear how you can really connect with them and tell a story, and then tell them about solutions. Then they're going to feel confident about referring to you. Remember, in your basic private practice, you don't need all the people. You only need about 20 of them. And so with that speaking skill that you're going to develop, you will have people in the community who connect with you and then refer you out. So spreading the word, speaking gigs, it's absolutely lucrative if you're planning on serving a mid-sized small community. I mean, in bigger cities, if you look at huge metropolitan areas like Houston, there are smaller groups, or I don't know if they're necessarily smaller, business networking international, capital B, capital N as in Nancy, I. Those groups are wonderful for getting you used to talking and networking and telling the story and honing your elevator speech and really helping people. I don't know if you noticed what I did in my elevator speech, right? I said my name like 3 times. And then at the end, I had a call to action. Well, I learned that by attending a business networking international group. And I think Houston has about 1 million of them. They're smaller groups, but they're able to train you, help you learn how to develop this skill. All right, next skill I'm calling the SEO ripoff. So I want to say this is maybe early, I don't know, what do we call them? The early teens, right? 2012, 2013, something like that. I was approached by someone who said they could help me optimize search engines on my website so the Google could find me. Now, keep in mind, 10 years ago, this wasn't really a thing. It almost seemed just like astronomy, like, oh my gosh, or splitting the atom, like, this is too hard. I must hire this out. Well, here's how this person proposed to help me. They were going to take my blog content, because I had written some blogs. I talk about infidelity, recovering from infidelity, crafting an apology, all kinds of things having to do with my practice. And then at that time, I actually had a big practice. So lots of the therapists had been contributing blogs. So we had a lot of content on the website. So what this person's idea was, they were going to take one blog and turn it into 3 blogs in the way that, and this is before AI, right? Before you can just put it into a machine and it would spit something out. So she was actually going to hire this out to her staff, and they were going to rewrite our blogs in 2 different ways that Google would not necessarily recognize, but because they were optimized the same way and they were all tied to the Achieve Balance website, it was going to crank us up in the ratings, supposedly. I'm like, oh, awesome. Yeah, it was super expensive too. And, monthly payments. So yeah, I was all in, because that's what you do as a new practice owner, right? You got to try things. Well, then I started reading those blogs, and I hadn't been a doc for very long. I think I got my PhD in 2007. So maybe I'd been a PhD person for 5 years or so, but these blogs sounded like they were written by my 3rd grader. They were terrible. I was embarrassed. They were up, they were published, like people were reading them. There were calls to action. There were buttons leading to me. And I couldn't believe what I was reading. The grammar was terrible. The words didn't make sense. There were misspellings. And she was cranking these out because she had sent them out to her staff, which I had no idea who they were or anything. So long story, super long, expensive story short, we ended our relationship. I took all of those blogs down. And I'm really it scared me away from SEO for a long, long, long time. I did look at it like splitting the atom, like something that somebody else was going to be good at, and I was never going to be good at. So that you can guess the solution here, right? Take a course. So SEO is not algebra or quadratic equations. It's barely even math. It's easier than you think. Don't treat it like something you can never learn. Take a quickie online course. Learn what SEO is. Watch some YouTube videos, because our niche is not that big, right? So for me, my niche was infidelity counseling. So I came up with some SEO after taking a course, getting some instruction. I learned how to optimize my own content. Now, this allowed me, because I learned it, to then offboard it and let someone else help me with it. I let that person help me. Now my assistant is great at it, but we work together on keywords. Keywords are how you optimize for search engine optimization to crank that website of yours up into the lower numbers on the Google rankings. Now, I feel like I don't need to say why, but I'm going to say why. Here's why you have to get over this fear of SEO. Here's why you have to watch a video, take a course, do something so you understand SEO. In fact, I know some of you out there, you don't even know how to get into the back office of your website. Here's why you have to do this. As long as we have websites, I mean, if we go back to billboards and business cards, you can call me crazy. But as long as we have websites, you're going to be fighting for the attention of the participant, the people at the other end of that keyboard, right? And the best way to win their attention is through your Google rankings and excellent content. And Google rewards excellent content. It wants experts out there who aren't AI or who use AI sparingly. They want you. They want your content. And you want to put out great content because your ideal client is out there looking for you. They're over here going, Halloween grief after, I just got a note home that my kid is failing school. I mean, that's pretty niche-y, right? Niche-y. But if you specialize in helping families where a kiddo struggles, especially in those first 6 weeks of school, or they just found out no pass, no play has knocked them off the football team their senior year, and you put a blog like that out there, they're going to find you. You creating excellent content is going to connect you just like that speaking gig did, right? People are going to connect with you through your words. And even if you don't feel confident, well, AI can help you. Other people can help you. And that actually brings me to my next scary story. So I couldn't really think of a good name for this scary story. It's sort of like big dreams, big letdown. So it reminded me of two things: writing Christmas cards and journaling. Those are the two things in my life. About this time of year, as a matter of fact, I would have these huge intentions like, I'm going to order Christmas cards this year. We're all going to go take pictures in front of a Christmas tree, and we're going to have the best Christmas cards. And you can guess the end of the story, right? They never went out. And I just, I'll try again next year. And then I'm beating myself up because I didn't get the Christmas cards out. And same thing with journaling. I'd want to write a journal. I really, really would. I'd want to keep a diary. Oh my gosh. And then I would just be like, oh, what's this book? Oh no, this is my diary that I haven't written in 6 months. I wouldn't just stop. I would forget about it. My kids say I'm ADD. They're probably right. Anyhow, you have to face your fear of creating content. And I already told you why. I mean, not only is great content going to help your SEO? Great content is going to help you connect with clients. So I've got some solutions today. And as I mentioned to you guys earlier, if you're one of the blessed folks who is listening to me on a replay, then I will absolutely tell you what I'm doing. Can you tell I'm talking slower? That's because I'm getting into some things here that I want to show people. And I'm going to show you one more thing. Let's put those tabs together because I have a million tabs open. So right now, replay listeners, we are going through a million Trello tab. I'm sorry, a million Chrome Google tabs. All right, I'm back. Here we go. So the first thing that took me out of my funk and took away my writer's block for content is Canva. And I really like Canva because, let's see, freebies and guides. There it is, blogs and calendar. You know, the calendar that I make for you guys, I'm going to share my screen. Well, I've tried so many things to stay organized and on task to create content. And then I remembered, hello, I used to be a teacher. I have taught literally kindergartners through seniors in high school, because that's what music teachers do. So these calendars really got my brain working. I was like, oh, okay, well, I can plan ahead. Now I can hire or get my webinar, my expert speakers. I have my topics. They're all kind of created through a theme, and I would have, colors. And so what I'm scrolling through right now, listeners, is just my calendars that I create in Canva. So for example, in August, I had August 1st, I pre-recorded a training. Actually, I had 2 weeks of pre-recorded training because I traveled. Then August 15th, I presented onboarding new employees. August 22nd, business plans 101. And August 31st, I had our expert speaker, Sarah Almendarez Rivera. So these Canva calendars were a godsend to me because it was creative, it was colorful, and it helped me plan ahead. So as I scroll, you can see I've got all the way through December. Now, don't hold me to the November, December, because I'm actually planning on working on those today. But right now, those are helping me stay organized. The other thing that helps me stay organized is, my friend I call on all the time is my Trello. So because I have a podcast and because I post things on YouTube and we create courses, this is also a godsend for my brain. It thinks like me. It allows me to move things. So if you're listening, again, I'm just going to show off my Trello for how I process recordings from what we're doing right now to a download that I can send off to my editor and then send to my blogger, put it into processing, then turn it into a course or a training, and then my favorite thing in the whole wide world, which is to slide it to done. Now, I could pick up the camera right now and show you the wall over here. I'm pointing off to my left because in the corner is actually a huge calendar that shows the entire year. So those are solutions that work for my brain when I get overwhelmed by content, because remember, content can be scary, but I have to create it because I value being higher in the Google ranking. So solutions like Canva, the big wall calendar, Trello board, and the why is because you must be consistent. Remember, your community is going to fall in love with your services. They need you. And if they're trying to refer people to you and people are like, I can't find them. What are you talking about? So you say that they're good with grief. Well, all I see is this website that's got one button on it. And I don't know. So you must connect with the people who need you. They're trying to find you. You're amazing. You're providing a service. You got into this business because you had a calling to connect with people. Your content will help you connect with those people. So I know these are scary stories about talking to big groups, SEO, and creating content. But my hope is that maybe you've gotten over it just a teeny bit and you'd be willing to stretch and do the work. All right. So I am going to look over at the Facebook page. It looks like we don't have any questions here. And I notice I have one person joining live, and I can hit the pause button if you have any questions for me. All right, I think we're good then. You guys have an amazing day, and I will get the time right in the email next week. My apologies. I'm so sorry. I said today was 1 o'clock. So if I've got a lot of people watching on a replay, next time, join me live. All right, Step It Uppers. Thanks a lot. I'm Dr. Kate Walker. Have a wonderful day.